The final SOS, the Kursk submarine disaster of 2000. On the morning of August 12, 2000, the Russian Navy began a routine naval exercise in the Barents Sea. Among the vessels participating was the K-141 Kursk, a 15,000-ton Oscar-class nuclear submarine, considered a marvel of Russian engineering. Commissioned in 1994, the Kursk symbolized the might of the Russian Navy, equipped with advanced weaponry and designed to withstand catastrophic damage. No one on board could have imagined that this day would end in one of the most harrowing maritime disasters in history. At 11:28 a.m., an explosion rocked the Kursk, sending shockwaves through the sea. Unknown to most at the time, one of the submarine's torpedoes had malfunctioned, leaking volatile fuel and causing a powerful detonation. The explosion tore through the forward compartments, instantly killing most of the crew stationed in those sections. Within moments, a second, larger explosion, equivalent to nearly 2 tons of TNT, followed, ripping a massive hole in the hull. The Kursk sank rapidly, coming to rest on the sea at 108 meters below the surface. Out of the 118 crew members aboard, 95 died instantly in the explosions. However, 23 sailors, stationed in the 9th compartment at the rear of the submarine, survived. They quickly sealed themselves off from the rest of the vessel to escape the flooding. Among them was Lieutenant Captain Dmitry Kolesnikov, who would later be identified as one of the last survivors. In the dimly lit, cold compartment, these men faced a terrifying reality. Their oxygen supply was limited, and the pressure in the flooded sections of the submarine made escape nearly impossible. While the Kursk lay silent on the seabed, the Russian Navy initiated search and rescue operations. For hours, they were unaware of the exact location of the submarine. It wasn't until the following day, on August 13, that rescue ships detected the Kursk on the seafloor. Divers and rescue vessels were deployed, but their efforts were plagued by delays, inadequate equipment, and miscommunication. The Kursk was equipped with emergency escape pods, but the explosions had damaged critical systems, leaving the survivors with no way to use them. Inside the 9th compartment, the 23 men struggled to stay alive. They relied on emergency oxygen generators, chemical devices that produced breathable air. However, these generators produced heat and could ignite if exposed to water. Tragically, one of the devices malfunctioned, creating a flash fire that consumed the remaining oxygen and filled the compartment with carbon monoxide. As conditions deteriorated, the survivors left behind notes for their loved ones. Among these was a handwritten message from Lieutenant Captain Kolesnikov, dated August 12. In his note, he listed the names of the surviving crew members and documented their attempts to stay alive. His final words reflected the grim reality. "It is too dark to write, but I will try by feel. It seems there are no chances, 10 to 20%. Let's hope someone will read this." Meanwhile, the Russian government faced mounting criticism for its handling of the disaster. Initially, officials downplayed the severity of the incident, stating that the Kursk had experienced a minor malfunction. Offers of assistance from foreign nations, including Norway and the United Kingdom, were initially rejected, delaying potential rescue efforts further. By the time international help was accepted on August 20, 8 days after the disaster, any hope of finding survivors had long faded. Norwegian and British divers finally reached the Kursk on August 21. Upon inspecting the wreck, they confirmed what many had feared. There were no survivors. The 9th compartment, once the final refuge of the 23 men, was now flooded and lifeless. The divers retrieved bodies and personal belongings, including Kolesnikov's poignant letter. The tragedy of the Kursk highlighted systemic issues within the Russian Navy. Investigations revealed that the initial explosion was caused by the failure of a Type 65-76 kit torpedo, which used highly volatile hydrogen peroxide as fuel. The torpedo's fuel had leaked, triggering the deadly chain of events. Furthermore, the disaster exposed the Navy's outdated rescue equipment and lack of preparedness for such emergencies. Public outrage grew as details of the incident emerged. Families of the victims demanded answers, and questions were raised about why the government had refused foreign help in the critical early hours. Russian President Vladimir Putin, who was vacationing at the time of the disaster, faced significant backlash for his perceived inaction and delayed response. In the aftermath, the Russian Navy made efforts to recover the Kursk and its crew. In October 2001, a Dutch salvage company successfully raised the submarine from the seabed, bringing closure to the victims' families. Memorials were established across Russia to honor the 118 men who perished. The Kursk disaster remains one of the most haunting submarine tragedies in history. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by those who serve beneath the waves and the devastating consequences of human error and institutional failures. For the 23 men who clung to life in the darkness of the ninth compartment, their final hours are a testament to courage and resilience in the face of unimaginable odds. Even today, the story of the Kursk evokes a deep sense of loss and tragedy, as the haunting echoes of its final moments remind the world of the fragile line between life and death beneath the ocean's depths. On November 15, 2017, the Argentine submarine ARA San Juan disappeared in the South Atlantic Ocean during a routine mission, marking one of the most devastating maritime tragedies in Argentina's history. The vessel, carrying 44 crew members, was a TR-1700 class diesel-electric submarine commissioned in 1985. Known for its resilience, the San Juan had recently undergone a midlife overhaul in 2014, a process meant to extend its operational lifespan. However, what was intended to be a routine patrol would soon turn into a tragic mystery that gripped the world. The submarine departed from the southern port of Ushuaia on November 13, tasked with monitoring illegal fishing vessels near Argentina's waters. It was en route to its home base in Mar del Plata when it vanished without a trace. Communication with the vessel was lost early on November 15, following a brief and routine radio transmission from its captain, Pedro Martin Fernandez, reporting a minor technical issue. The submarine had encountered water ingress through its snorkel, which had caused a short circuit in one of its battery compartments. Despite this problem, the captain assured Naval Command that the situation was under control and the vessel would continue its journey submerged. Hours later, the ARA San Juan sent a final transmission, reporting that the battery issue had been resolved. That would be the last time anyone heard from the submarine. When the vessel failed to make further contact, the Argentine Navy initiated search and rescue operations, deploying ships and aircraft to scour the South Atlantic. The disappearance of the ARA San Juan triggered a massive international response. Over a dozen countries, including the United States, Russia, the United Kingdom, and Germany, joined the search effort, contributing advanced technology, naval vessels, and specialized personnel. The operation covered a vast area of over 482,000 square kilometers. However, the remote and unpredictable conditions of the South Atlantic, marked by rough seas, powerful winds, and extreme depths, made the search extraordinarily difficult. As days turned into weeks, hope began to wane. On November 23, 8 days after the submarine's disappearance, investigators received a critical piece of information. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, CTBTO, which operates a global network of underwater sensors to monitor nuclear activity, detected an unusual sound near the San Juan's last known location. This sound, described as an acoustic anomaly, had occurred just hours after the submarine's final transmission. Experts identified the sound as consistent with an underwater explosion. The revelation was devastating. It suggested that the ARA San Juan had suffered a catastrophic event, likely imploding due to a failure in its pressure hull while operating at depth. Such an implosion would have been instantaneous, leaving no time for the crew to react. Based on the data, the explosion occurred approximately 430 kilometers off the coast of Argentina. at a depth of around 900 meters, far beyond the submarine's maximum operational depth. With this information, the focus shifted from a rescue operation to the recovery of the submarine and its crew. The Argentine government faced mounting criticism from the families of the victims and the public. Allegations surfaced regarding the Navy's neglect of maintenance and outdated equipment aboard the San Juan. Documents later revealed that the submarine had reported electrical issues in the months leading up to its final voyage. Critics argued that the vessel had been sent on its mission despite being unfit for deployment. The tragedy also became a political firestorm. Argentine President Mauricio Macri faced intense scrutiny for his administration's handling of the disaster and its aftermath. Protests erupted as grieving families demanded transparency and accountability. Many accused the government of withholding information about the submarine's condition and the circumstances of its disappearance. A year after the disaster, on November 17, 2018, a breakthrough was made. The wreck of the ARA San Juan was discovered by the private company Ocean Infinity, which had been contracted by the Argentine government to continue the search. The wreck was located 907 meters below the surface, about 500 kilometers off the coast of Comodoro Rivadavia. Images of the wreck revealed that the submarine had been torn into several pieces, consistent with a high-energy implosion. The pressure at such depths, exceeding 90 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level, would have caused the vessel to collapse almost instantaneously. Despite the discovery, recovery of the submarine was deemed unfeasible due to the extreme depth and cost involved. The families of the 44 crew members were left to grapple with their loss, many finding solace in the memorials erected in honor of their loved ones. The tragedy prompted widespread calls for reforms within the Argentine Navy, including increased funding for maintenance and modernization. Investigations into the incident exposed systemic issues, including budget cuts, mismanagement, and inadequate safety protocols. The ARA San Juan disaster remains a somber chapter in Argentina's history, symbolizing both the sacrifices of those who serve at sea and the consequences of neglecting military infrastructure. For the 44 sailors aboard the San Juan, their final voyage was a testament to their dedication and bravery, even in the face of insurmountable odds. Their story continues to resonate, reminding the world of the inherent dangers of life beneath the waves and the importance of safeguarding those who undertake it.